All right, so we're back here once again on another edition of Couch Coach Live here Wednesday night under the lights on the couch on Couch Coach Live. We got a special guest in the building. Our guy Jordan from SportsScoop.com, my uh, brethren from the NFL Carousel, NBA Carousel. What other stuff do we're a part of, Jordan?
That's pretty much it. Besides the
I think
show
so.
that you have me occasionally on.
Yeah. So, you know, I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, I know we're associated with the carousels, the NBA, NFL ones. I was like, we probably got something else too. But I was like, I had to double check because I was like, is it?
I can't think of anything, but I mean, we chat all the time. So
Yeah, and of course, always, you're on Couch Coach Live as well, often as well too. So we definitely always appreciate your presence when you do come on our pod and just your support overall with everything that we do here. So yeah, so what's going on with Jordan?
not much. I mean, it's an exciting time of year for me. I mean, my team's still in the NBA playoffs, so. I mean, unfortunately, the Avalanche lost in the first round, so why not have the Nuggets do what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Last year you had the Stanley Cup. You are technically 7 games away from tasting that same that same joy of winning the championship with this Denver Nuggets squad. So yeah, man, it's pretty much a good time in the Mile High City, and then also Sean Payton is in the fold in Denver. So a lot going on in Denver and some exciting times.
It really is. I mean, this is probably the best time of year. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
we got mini camps just wrapping up. We're going to have training camp in July. And of course, like we've talked about, the Nuggets run. So, and of course, we play you in week 2. So there we go.
Yes, and we're definitely going to talk about that. So definitely glad that you brought it up. So pretty much we got a great show lined up for you tonight. So we'll talk about Jordan's Denver Nuggets as they won the game one at the Western Conference Finals. We'll talk about the Spurs being lucky once again, and then we'll talk about the latest two firings in the NBA, coaching wise, and we'll talk about the Commanders being sold with that. Then we'll talk a little schedule release, and we'll just talk about Jordan and I will square off on September the 17th as we head west to play our formula foe that is the Denver Broncos. So we'll talk about the schedule release that came out last week as well. And then, and then we'll put a bow on the show. But so what we'll do, we'll take a brief time out and we'll be right back. This is Couch Coach Live, and we'll be right back shortly. And we're back here on Couch Coach Live. Before we start the show, they've got to give a huge shout out to the good folks at Goalie. Head over to goalie.com. Use the promo code CouchCoach at checkout. Before we bring Malway in the frame, we definitely got to get this comment. So one of our guys, Lamar, he's a Bears fan. Browns fan, and he, of course, so
We'll see. I
trash talk
mean,
will commence. Yeah,
I'll wait until about this September once preseason commences, and then I'll comment on that later.
Yeah, but that's definitely gonna be an interesting matchup. Both of the, obviously the Browns kind of getting their win. There, with Deshaun Watson kind of getting into his groove. Obviously, as a Commanders fan, I think he had his coming out game. When he played us, so you see a lot of kind of flash with that. And obviously, like we talked about it earlier with Sean Payton in the fold. We know Russell Wilson's probably going to have definitely a better year. So, yeah, man. So we got we'll definitely chop that up during the show as far as talking about the schedule release. But before we talk about your Denver Nuggets, we have to bring in Maui in the fold because he's a Lakers guy. So this would be a very interesting, compelling argument. So we'll bring Maui in the frame.
There we go. What's up?
All right, yeah. What's going on?
Oh, I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Pretty good. I mean, I got a 1-0 series lead right now, but I'm not comfortable with it.
Oh, you already answered one of my questions. Well, I like you.
So we'll get into it now. So we'll talk about obviously last night's matchup with the Lakers Nuggets game, one of the Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets won by the final score of 132 to 126. Jordan, your boy Jokic, man, a triple-double, 34, 21, and 14 assists. And then Maui, your boy Braun, 26, 80, 40, and 10.
Right.
So I'll go with you first, Jordan, the victor. What was your thoughts on last night's game?
The problem with the Nuggets, and I've seen this with them the whole season, we were up 72-54. I figured, hey, you know what? This game's over. Well, the only problem is there's 2 halves to play, and I've seen them do this a lot this season where they're on cruise control. They obviously thought the game was won. Well, there's one problem. It's a second half. And you look at it, and the Lakers actually outscored the Nuggets. What was it? 72-60 in the second half. This game got close. It was a 3-point game with 2:27. Maui could probably imagine how I was feeling when it got down to 3. I was feeling like, oh, they're going to blow this. Luckily, they figured out a way to hold on to it. But really, if you look at it, I mean, it was the second half shooting that was the difference in this game. The Lakers shot 66.7% in the second half. That's how they got back. I figured they were going to make a run. I was feeling confident until that huge run at the end. Luckily, the Nuggets held off. I'm still not comfortable because I know the Lakers are going to make adjustments in game 2.
Absolutely. Mal, your thoughts?
I feel like we should have won. The run we made, we should have won the game. And it came down to basically LeBron, the fumble, the 50-50 ball, definitely. That 3. I don't think he should have took the 3. I know Reeves had made 3s, and then he missed his last 3, which I think he kind of rushed it. And I think LeBron, the same thing. I feel like you did a comeback. You have all these nuggets. All these nuggets is in foul trouble. So my whole thing, I get it that you guys are tired, you guys are old, but if you just keep with this discipline of keeping the same game plan that got you there and get Murray or KCP or Joker in the foul out and then play in the overtime, you know what I mean?
You guys probably would have won had we gone into overtime.
You probably would have won. And you still could have won if you made your 3 free throws. And I keep thinking there's another player that missed a free throw. It might be Lonnie Walker. I cannot remember. But I'm going to speak from a Laker. Now, I watched them all year. And if you pay attention, everybody talks about that trade. Only person that was in there was Rui. Russell wasn't in there. Vanderbilt wasn't in there. And Beasley wasn't in there. So this was, to me, the same team that was playing the Nuggets in the beginning of the season without Westbrook. And, remember, Westbrook was coming off the bench. So they've had success. You know what I mean? But they also have Rui there. To me, the Lakers, is making the playoffs very interesting because it's like a chess. It's like it gives us really something technically to talk about because it's like chess. There has to be some type of adjustments. You know what I mean? And I felt like this first game, just like the Warriors' first game, to me was, I won't say no disrespect, a toss game, but I felt like let's just see what we do, what they're going to throw at us, and we see what happens. As long as we get one of these games, we're good because we're undefeated at home. And it reminds me of the bubble where they would lose a game and then they'd be like, oh, okay. And then it'd be almost like a gentleman's sweep. And I also want to say this before. I have numbers and everything. If you want me to break it down, bottom line is they shot a couple of more 3-pointers and they made a couple more 3-pointers. Everything else was damn near equal. That's just the truth. You know what I mean? Everybody had a wonderful game, but you could tell it was more or less, let me see really what's going on. I'm not going to lie. I felt like the Nuggets at the end of the game looked a little nervous. I think, and Mike Malone was like, if they didn't get that 50-50 ball, and that changed the momentum. And what else? It was one more thing. I'm happy this happened for Joker because he proved those 2 MVPs wasn't a fluke. And no disrespect, he should have won it this year. You know what I mean? I hear what everybody say, but the way he played in that game last year, he let everybody know, like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no toss-up. I mean, he triple-double, he dominated. It's just that there was an adjustment there to play with who he is, and you know what I mean? And everybody has a weakness, but that's it.
And I do agree with Maui. I mean, Joker to me, I mean, I've seen him in all these playoffs, and he's doing what he's doing. He's coming to be basically a superstar. I've seen him as a superstar. Now everybody's seeing what I've seen. To your point, though, I do think that had we gone into overtime with our foul trouble, I think Murray was at 5, Joker was at 5. If you foul those guys out, you guys would have won the game. There's no doubt in my mind.
Right. Yeah. And one more thing, from a Lakers standpoint, I wrote here, I said, Russell, Walker, Vanderbilt, they cannot not be in double digits. No guards to me should be in double digits, should not be in the double digits in the NBA. That's crazy to me. Schroeder, you can't have 6 points. You can't, 3 points. You got to have at least 10. So, because they had 4 players in double figures, where the Nuggets had 6. You see what I'm saying? That's it. On you, Coach.
I definitely, just to Maui's point for game 2, I really think this is a must win for you. We want to go up 2-0 going to LA. If we're tied at 1, it's anybody's series.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just one of those where it's interesting. I think game 2 is really going to be really telling. It's kind of because you look at it from both perspectives. You look at Denver, they probably played their best, the best 3 quarters I've seen this season in any team in any facet. So then, obviously the comeback with the Lakers, like it's getting one of those things where will be the adjustments in that, where it's like, because normally we always say when you get blown out like that, hey, those garbage time, that garbage minutes, what you going to do in that garbage time to learn from it? And then obviously with the Lakers kind of climbing back in and making this competitive towards the end. So game 2 is definitely going to be pivotal. And like you said, and we talked about like the Lakers being undefeated at home. The Nuggets are undefeated at home as well. So
I didn't know that.
So so it's going to be definitely going to be an interesting game 2. And I think game 2 is going to be something that's telling. Well, it's like everything. We always these games like in a microwave where it's like now then we have 2 games like somewhat of a body of work and kind of see how this series is going to be defined. So definitely looking forward to game 2 and just the games in this series. So
I have one question. One quick question. Hey, Jordan, right?
Yep.
So who do you think? I'm gonna tell you who I think. Your Nuggets. So on the Lakers, who do you think they could need to contain to get the win?
Jeez, I would say Reeves. I mean, he was the guy that was going off last night. I mean, LeBron did his thing. He wasn't. I mean, it took him 4 quarters to do it. Davis, of course, is always the guy down below that's going to get his points. Reeves, though, I mean, he can shoot the 3, and that's how they actually got back in the game was the fact that he was shooting 3-pointers. So for us, we have to basically defend him better on the perimeter so he doesn't have those 3s.
I feel like if we can keep Murray to 23, and I think contain maybe KCP and I think Brown to less than 20 points, I think we have a good chance to win. I think Michael Porter Jr., he can give you 17, maybe 20. And I think it was one more person, Gordon. I think he gave you 15. And we can keep some of those guys down. I mean, Joker going to get Joker, and you have to understand that. Like, Joker's going to get Joker, and you let him do that. But you have to understand, too, I don't think he's that dominant guy where he just want to get 60 points or 50 points. I think he wants to get everybody else in the game. So if you can contain those other guys, I think we can have a chance to win.
I 100% agree. You're right. Jokic doesn't want to do it on his own. We saw what happened last year when Murray and MPJ weren't playing. It was all
Right.
Jokic, and Jokic couldn't do it all on his own. So he does not want to do
Right.
it all on his own.
Right.
Absolutely. So, and, we talked about, obviously this, series is, with, talk about the Lakers, LeBron James. It's funny that now we're sitting here 20 years later. 20 years ago, there was a sweepstakes for LeBron James. How many teams that was vying for LeBron James services, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers get the number 1 pick in that draft and grab LeBron James. So the similar buzz was like this last night during the NBA draft lottery, where the San Antonio Spurs won the draft lottery. So it was a party in the streets in San Antonio. And obviously, there's a presumption now that Victor Wembanyama will be the number 1 overall pick. I think that's just a foregone conclusion at this point. So, Jordan, your thoughts on the Spurs winning the lottery last night?
Well, you look at it, they only had a 14% chance. Of course, they won it, like you said. Well, they've had the number 1 pick before. They drafted,
times.
Well, exactly. The last time it was Tim Duncan, 1997. Well, how did that work out? It worked out great. 5 NBA championships, 3 MVPs of the NBA Finals, and 2 MVPs of the regular season. Went to 15 All-Star games. Now you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, the Spurs have done well. Well, if Victor can be that type of player, man, they might have another dynasty coming.
Right.
Your thoughts, Matt, on Spurs winning the lottery?
I mean, congratulations. I think it's important for the league, for Pop and the Spurs to somehow, be relevant. I mean, actually people talking about him again. I don't want to be negative about the guy. From what I heard today, they said that he's still maybe growing. He's 7'2". He's I think the league that he's played in recently, they said he's a little more rough. I mean, it's a little more physical. And, now the NBA is not as physical as it used to be. So he should be okay. It was more a discussion of his health because of his height. And I was one of the players, he was saying he played with Yao Ming, and he said Yao Ming he was heavy below the waist. So he was like, he had feet issues. So those type of things. But he's from France. So I seen Tony Parker was very exciting. I think that's going to be a big deal. But yeah, man, congratulations to them. My question to you guys was, do you think that's what the Spurs want to do, or do they want to necessarily give that up and maybe get some other things? Or do y'all see anybody else in the draft making some moves?
Oh no, San Antonio! No. This is perfect for them because you think about it. They don't have to worry about flying no prospects out. They're done. Their homework is done. I know last night they were like, "Phew, we don't got to worry about no draft camps." Well, I mean, they're probably still gonna bring in prospects, but as far as that number 1 overall pick, we ain't got to worry about the what if. Oh yeah, he's a generational talent. Like as far as it's funny because prior to 2003, we looked at LeBron James' stature as a video game creation. And then even the success of LeBron James, we wanted a guy that was 7'4" that can handle like a guard and can, and at 220, that can, so he's a creative player, like for sure. Like in this modern era, for sure. Oh no, this was perfect for them. They like shoot.
Yeah,
so you want some weird stuff?
They probably did. You remember? I don't know, Joe. You probably remember. You probably remember too, Mal. Remember when Mike Ditka drafted Ricky Williams, and then pretty much he said, "Look, I'm going golfing. I'm done. I'm done with the draft." That's what Pop is probably doing.
He's traded all his draft picks for Ricky Williams. That was it.
Yeah. So you just look at
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like as far as his draft prep, this is perfect. He like, shoot, this is good. We know, because I'm not sure if they got. I know they probably got a pick in the second round, but I mean, as far as you talk about like the top prospects in this, none of them going to San Antonio. Like if that happened, even if I'm like Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, I wouldn't even waste my time.
I agree.
I was sitting there thinking, so like, LeBron was born in 1984. And then I was looking at that because this dude was. I was sitting here waiting. I was like, damn. So LeBron was born in 1984, and that's when they broke the record. And then I was like, that's when Jordan was drafted. And I was like, okay, so what weird about this? And then I looked to see that the young man was born in 04. And I was like, oh, okay. Now we're going. Now we get somewhere. You know what I mean? So I said he may be, because to me. I felt that way because didn't Jordan retire the year before LeBron came to the league?
Yeah, he graduated. I mean, that graduated. Yeah, he retired in 03. Yeah.
03, and I felt like, so you understand what I'm saying, right? I was sitting here like, okay, well maybe this is gonna be that next one then. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, okay, because I've been waiting for that. I felt like the NBA's had a lot of guys that they kind of like wanted to put as the face, and Steph is on his way out. Clearly, KD, Harden, a lot of those guys are on their way, including LeBron. And I'm looking at these next superstars, and I'm not as excited as I was before. You know what I mean? Because Zion, Ja, you know what I mean? LaMelo,
so many problems with Ja Morant right now.
Yeah,
bad.
But I think when it comes to the Spurs situation, he fell into the right place.
Right.
Obviously, the Spurs, great organization, great coaching. I think that was kind of one of my biggest fears going into this draft lottery, like where he was going to go, because we know now as far as when it comes to fits and what have you, like it makes a difference. Like, I know a lot of people say, well, they wanted him to go to Detroit, but I'm like, do Detroit have a head? They don't have a coach. So it's almost like, and I know that probably would have been more suited. You would have thought like maybe like a Monty Williams would have been in that fold, maybe Nick Nurse, Budenholzer might have been in that equation if Wembanyama was there, but he goes somewhere that's stable. And like you said, I think the weight situation, he's 220, he's 7'4". Yeah, that is a glaring red flag. But and I think they'll work on that. I think, because I remember we used to talk about Kevin Durant, like, oh, he wasn't gonna make it in his league, in his early stages. But now he's having some issues. But I mean, he's in his mid-30s, so that's expected.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, I love it. I love that he's going there and like into an organization like that. And I think, and the good thing about that situation is, and I think they got a lot of draft capital in 2024, so they can definitely parlay those into like established players. So I think that's another thing where Pop can really look at the situation like, this is a win now situation for me. Like, I got a guy here, instead of kind of building up almost like an OKC, I can pretty much cut the line in the Western Conference.
Right.
By simply having, when beyond, because people are going to want to play for him. So that's another draw for San Antonio as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Congratulations, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
And they, first round, they got the one pick in 1987 and got David Robinson, and then 97 ended up getting Tim Duncan, and 2023 Victor Wembanyama.
Hey, I want to say to the Spurs, I mean not to the Spurs, but to the Hornets, the Trailblazers. Damn.
Pretty much, yes.
Almost.
Yeah, Charlotte might be okay. I think Charlotte. I think Charlotte definitely needs to get Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
I look at it like, I know a lot of people saying, well, they should get Scoot Henderson. I get it. Like, Scoot Henderson is a great guard in his right, and you got Melo Ball there. I get that, but he bring in Brandon Miller. Be smart. Mitch Kupchak, do this. Just be smart about it. I know Miles Bridges potentially going to be coming back. I mean, well, he will be coming back because obviously they put the suspension on him already. So Miles Bridges coming back, but get Brandon Miller. Just be smart. I know, you get the consolation prize, but Brandon Miller is still a good prospect. Like you said, feel bad for like Portland, Houston, and Detroit, especially Detroit. Poor Detroit.
Man, I mean, boy, you're really gonna have to start making some decisions. Dane, he really gonna have to make some decisions, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have been scared if Wembanyama would have went to Portland, because I already think about the big men in Portland, Sam Bowie, Greg Oden, Bill Walton. Bill Walton, even going back to the Bill Walton days. Yep. Woo. Yeah, I would have been scared. I'd have pulled like Eli Manning. Like, look, I can't go to Portland.
There's a curse. There's a curse with Portland too, with those big
Right.
names you just said.
And then who represented them in the draft lottery? Brandon Roy. Oh hell no, hell no, hell no.
I didn't even pay attention to that.
I would.
That's the reason for Dave to leave. Exactly what you're talking about is why Dave should leave.
I would have stayed in France. No way. I'd have barricaded myself. Look, I would have told Wendy, like, I'm not coming to the United States under any circumstance if I would have got drafted by Portland. No can do. I like take it back to Malika because I ain't coming back. I ain't coming to America no more. Forget that. So we'll stay in the heart with the NBA. Very interesting. Last, I want to say 5 days that has transpired in the association. So at this more so, I guess we'll start from the shock factor, the first shock, and then the one that wasn't much of a shock. So, and Jordan, you think about like Monty Williams, the Phoenix Suns. I know you covered the Phoenix Suns once upon a time ago. And during the success of the Phoenix Suns, so I think I definitely want to kind of get your thoughts momentarily as I kind of get this thing going. So, Monty Williams, obviously, they did lose to Jordan's Denver Nuggets, and then obviously within 24 hours, Monty Williams probably about 48 hours. Monty Williams was let go. Obviously, in that frame, he did have a 194 wins, and coincidentally, last year he was the NBA Coach of the Year. So your thoughts? I'm gonna go with you first, Jordan. What are your thoughts on Monty Williams being fired?
I personally don't understand it. I mean, you're looking at a guy like you hit it on the head. 194 wins. He had 115 losses. A winning percentage of .628. Plus, he went to the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years. 2 years ago, he was in the NBA Finals against the Bucks. Yeah, they had a 2-0 lead. They messed that up and lost the next 4. The person I would personally fire, and it's not Monty Williams' fault, is the general manager. What did they do? Well, they got Kevin Durant. The trade they did basically depleted their bench. I'll go through it again. Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Wen Pablo Viala, as well as 5 future first-round draft picks and 2 second-round selections for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, sorry, I'm thinking Kevin Garnett, which played a long time ago. The thing that I don't understand is why did you mortgage the future for Kevin Durant? You were thinking you're going to have him with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and have a big 3. It didn't work out. So I would not fault Monty Williams. I understand why he was fired because he didn't get them past the second round, but still, you have to look back at that trade as the turning point of the season because you mortgage your future. I don't understand why the GM wasn't fired as well.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts, Mallory?
Oh, man, that's perfect, Jordan. I didn't even think about firing the GM. But my thing is the Suns, I remember a couple years ago, I was saying that the league, because you could see clearly that the Smash Brothers was on their way out. And I was saying that Ice Trae and Devin Booker, it's time for them to step up because the league is ready for those stars. Like Kobe's daughter, Ice Trae, was her favorite player. You know what I mean? And everybody was looking at Devin Booker as the second coming of Kobe. So I say that. So they get Monty Williams. They was in a bubble. They was like the number 1 team in the bubble. You know, you can see the difference. And ever since the bubble, they have been probably one of the scariest teams in the league. And it wasn't Booker. It wasn't Chris Paul. Damn sure wasn't Ayton. It was who they traded away. It was Bridges and Cam. They terrified me. They wide open in the corner. They're going to knock the 3 down. And they gave that up. And Booker said it. I feel like they traded our core. So they were 19. They were the laughing stock before Monty Williams got there. And you trading. So I'm thinking, I understand there's a new owner and he didn't hire him. He wants his own coach. I get that. And he's a basketball guy. I almost feel like Monty Williams, and then he signed an extension last year.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
A part of me feel like maybe Monty Williams wanted to be out himself. I don't know why. I mean, actually, I do. I think it was a lot of changes. I don't think he was happy with the trade. He wanted KD, but at the same time, at what price? You know what I mean? And then, the Suns they've really have had a lot of injuries with one player, and that was
Mhm.
Chris Paul. You know what I mean? And he has injuries at times where it's the most important, and you shouldn't have injuries, and it's in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So the problem is it was not Monty Williams is not the problem. That's what I'm saying. He's not the problem. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
I completely agree with you.
And you let him go. So that's all I could say. I felt like now that with all these different coaches being fired, there's a lot of opportunities. You know, so it is what it is. But hopefully everything will be okay.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting, and like you said, I understand why they did it because, like you said, that's Matt Ishii, but this is his baby now.
Hmm.
I mentioned earlier. I think I did like a reaction to it early, last week about it. I was like, now if Robert Sarver was still the owner, I would have been totally like on the floor, like shocked.
Hmm.
But yeah, and he just wants his own. That's his statement. And like you said, you essentially getting rid of your young core. Like these are going to be guys that we're going to develop, and like we say, now you're seeing what they're going to do in Brooklyn. And to get a aging superstar in Kevin Durant who will be 35 in September. So it's kind of, and then I'm really just curious. I think more so it's like I'm curious as far as what they're gonna do with DeAndre Ayton because I think that was really the between Monty and DeAndre Ayton, that was
Hmm.
kind of one of the biggest strife of the team. And we always kind of know like in these cases, it's cheaper to get to fire the coach instead of getting rid of a guy like a DeAndre Ayton. So I'm
Hmm.
curious who this next head coach is going to be. And like you said, like to your point, Jordan, where what was the ramification for James Jones? Like, because that was like we said, that was a very interesting move of getting rid of that of getting rid of Mikhail and Cam. So it's kind of
Hmm.
interesting how that dynamic shifted. But I'm really curious as who's going to be this new head coach and if they're going to keep Aiden, because I think if you kept Aiden, we can kind of put two and two together. Like, we know why Monty's out. So. But I think more likely Aiden still, in a bizarre way, he still might be with his team, even despite all the situation that happened with him and Book. What was it? Maybe game 5, I think, and when he was on the bench, and when I was game 5, that's right, because he didn't play in game 6.
Right.
That's right. I wonder why.
So, do you think that? So, I had seen something or heard something about the players was kind of like voicing that they wanted Monty Williams to leave.
I mean, it could have been. I didn't hear that other than I've heard that he's a good players coach. But then again, they were having success, and once you don't have success, you
Right.
hear rumors of that. So I mean, that is possible that they want a coach to be a players coach. I mean, I've heard Monte is a players coach, but if players
Hmm.
are saying that they want him out, then it's quite possible that's why they pulled the trigger.
So, how many
Yeah.
years was he there?
He was there 4.
He was there 4. So, you remember that the Lakers what they wanted to give him a 3-year deal or something like that, and they wanted 5. I think him and Jason Kidd. They said they were just going to have him for 2. I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, and yeah, my old Monty Williams. But yeah, it's interesting though. I just really want to see where this Suns team going. And you know what's so crazy? It's been that bad. Like he's got like one of the most highest winning percentage as a Phoenix head coach. I'm like, wow. Like you don't. It's crazy because you never really think about that type of stuff. But then you just look at kind of the history of the Suns. You think to yourself like, damn, that's actually. It just shows you kind of like the futility they've had in their organization. I mean, I
Mhm.
was like, dang, he got one of the highest. Was it like third? I think he has third highest winning percentage in as far as head coaches in Phoenix Suns history. That's crazy.
Hmm.
I think it was third. I think.
Well, what do
But
y'all think is necessarily going on? Because it seemed like there's a bunch of coaches I don't think should be fired is getting fired. Like I don't think Nick Nurse should have been fired. I didn't think Bud should be fired. I didn't think I didn't think Doc should be fired.
we'll talk about Doc momentarily, but it's I
He's
I think a lot of it is what have you done for me lately? And
lately, yeah,
that's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah. It is weird because and it's crazy because it never used to be like that. Because it always used to be like the bad coaches get fired like immediately. But now you're looking at just like situations like with Budenholzer, that first round exit. But I think they was gonna they were trying to get rid of him anyway. I think this
right.
was just the perfect time because honestly, if they didn't win the championship in 2021, quiet as kept,
Yeah.
Budenholzer was out the door. So
Oh,
Right.
I agree.
that's another one, and it's almost like so I kind of see that. Nick Nurse is interesting, like you said, that's what have you done for me lately? Where this almost reminded me how the situation with Phoenix, Toronto. Granted, they were a playoff team. They were, with Dwayne Casey and all that, but LeBron James kept on like breaking their hearts year in, year out, and they just could never get over the hump.
Right.
Now you get a guy that bring you through the hump. He has some up and down seasons. Hell, this man coached the team when they went Tampa Bay, like struggling, and he got over that. So, and then I guess the situation when you do losing to the Bulls, like because of DeMar DeRozan's daughter screaming and her in the midst of free throws, I guess it might be a reason why you get fired. But it wasn't, and the thing about that, and it wasn't a drastic fire because I think they waited like weeks before they announced that he was gonna get fired. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of interesting how that happened. At least with Budenholzer, it was kind of immediate. With Monty was immediate, and then as we'll talk about in a second, Doc is immediate as well. But I was shocked, and that's funny because I knew once we got on air on Wednesday that we were going to talk about Doc Rivers, like Doc Rivers being fired. It was almost like it was inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll talk. We'll talk about Doc now. So come on.
That's a good segue.
Yeah. So let's talk about Doc. So obviously, it's crazy to think we were sitting here because we were talking about. It's funny. It's funny how the times have changed. So last week we were talking about how the Boston Celtics, their season was on the brink. They were down 3-1 in the series. And we kind of talked about it. I think we kind of was, just talking about just Boston going through the motions and what have you. But obviously, they lost that 3-1 lead, and obviously the Celtics won, and they blew him out in Game 7. So he was fired as the 76ers head coach. So get this. So when Doc has a 3-game, when he wins three games in a series, he's 16-33.
Oof.
And he's 6-10 in games in Game 7s.
Ouch.
So, yikes! What's your thoughts on it, Jordan? I'm going to go with you first.
I honestly thought Doc shouldn't have been fired. The reason's simple. You got to the playoffs. Yes, you were blown out in Game 7, but the truth is with all these NBA franchises, what is the goal? Yes, the goal is to win an NBA championship. Well, how do you get that goal? You have to be in the playoffs. I saw this with the Denver Nuggets when they fired George Karl many years ago. I never thought they should have fired George Karl, and it took us 2 head coaches to finally get into the playoffs. This, to me, reminds me of like a Mike Malone. The reason why I say that is Mike Malone was terrible his first few years. Had he not gone to the playoffs in his 4th, he might have been gone, but the fact of the matter is the Nuggets kept him. I don't understand why Doc Rivers got fired. I understand that you haven't had the success in the playoffs, but at least you got there. There are many teams that would want to be there. So it just doesn't make sense to me that you would fire a coach who got you there. Now you want to rebuild with a new head coach, especially you do have Joel Embiid, and you have, I'm assuming James Harden's going to stay, or is he going to opt out? I don't know. But you still have Joel Embiid, but still, why would you fire a coach that got you to the playoffs?
Yeah. Mel, your thoughts?
Because the same when Doc left the Clippers, Mike D'Antoni, and the president or the GM of the 76ers, whoever, had left Houston. Then Harden had signed the extension before the guy. Bottom line, you already know what I'm saying. Like, I always felt they took Doc. I think somebody else thought they were going to get the job. I forgot who, but no, Mike D'Antoni. Y'all remember back in the day? Mike D'Antoni thought he was getting that job, but they gave it to Doc. I remember that now, Mike, because it was reported that Mike D'Antoni was the candidate for that job, but Doc got it because nobody knew that Doc was leaving the Clippers. Something like that was a shocker that Doc had left, but he was saying he was going to retire and blah blah blah. So I never really looked at Doc was going to be there that long. I'm saying I'm shocked that he got fired because I don't think it was his fault that he got fired, but I think Doc is a decent coach. I think they make it seem like he's a better coach than what he really is. And his numbers are starting to show that he's not as good as he really is. And I'm not saying he's not a likable guy, probably great to play, listen to, but I think, so I'm not as shocked. But definitely I hadn't watched the 76ers much this year. You know what I mean? But when I did, I said, oh my God, they look like Houston. I said, you got PJ Tucker there, you got a House there. You know what I mean? Who else is there? Somebody at Harden's there, somebody else is there. Yeah. I can't remember. I was like, they're basically Houston. And then you start hearing whispers about Harden might want to go back to Houston. Then they said, he might have had something to do with Doc maybe stepping out. He was, you know what I mean? I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, I think it's because I guess we live now, like, in almost to your point, Jordan, I think earlier, as far as like the changing of the coaching landscape, where it's a "what have you done for me lately" type of business. I think if we had this conversation maybe months ago, maybe years ago, yeah, this would have been a shock. But now you think about guys who have literally the last 4 years have been in the NBA Finals. And are gone except for Steve Kerr. I think he's the only coach out the last four. Out the last four. So you just, that game 7 and then him having that 3-1 lead, it was like it's ominous, and it's almost like we knew this was going to happen. That's a scary thing because even dating back to the bubble situation when Denver was down 3-1, they came back. Just remember that Orlando team back, I think it was like either 03 or 04. It's just like that. And, it's unfortunate. Like you said, and because with the Clippers situation, because it was almost like, it was like, to me, remind me of he got fired on a Monday and got a job by Friday, like situation, right. Because he really got that job because, that was a shock, because that's another thing where, and like you said, in Philly, and I guess, when they look at just from that standpoint of, because they look at now, we need to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. We haven't been in the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. Something's got to give, and that's where I think we now how the coaching carousel is now. You got some legitimate candidates that, it might be worth you firing Doc, because you have a situation where you can get Coach Bud, you can get guys, you can get a lot of, you can get some perennial head coaches. Like you almost got like picking a litter when it comes to coaching candidates, So I think maybe that's an easier process to kind of get rid of somebody, because hey, the grass might actually be greener on the other side. Hell, I got 3 candidates. The grass might be green, but and of course, with and it kind of coincide with our next topic, but I really want to see what this brass does, because I think this could be a potential reality for my squad come January the 8th, so of 2024. So I'm really looking at this situation, like how they're going to handle this coaching search, who's going to be their head coach. Did Josh Harris and the folks do a great job with this hire? So because definitely looking at this from a as a situation that might come down the line for us in the next, let's see if I'm doing my math right, maybe in the next 7.5-8 months from now, So curious. I said I'm just as curious and trying to read the tea leaves as much as I can because kind of see what's going to potentially happen with another franchise. So that being said, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I shout out to Josh Harris and those folks. So
Right. I see what you're saying now.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
So I guess let's address the elephant in the room, guys. So
That is.
yeah, hey, it all makes sense. I like you had to kind of get it
I
going.
was saying. I say he's so biased, man. Why would he put that on? We've been talking about it for
because
3 weeks. I'm just kidding.
so I guess, and that's something. It's a topic that I kind of was like kind of shying away from because it's kind of like, all right, is this gonna be over? Is it this, that, and the third? But Josh Harris and the Snyder family have essentially came to agreement to this for Josh Harris to buy the Commanders from the Snyders. It is still subject to an NFL approval, which is a formality. I think 24 out of 32 votes they're in. So I think it's going to be it's going to be legitimate. Obviously, as we talked about it earlier, Josh Harris is the majority owner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. So obviously the Harris Group is also is comprised of such other people, but notably Magic Johnson as well. He has a minority stake in this group, this Harris Group. So and Jordan, you should definitely like almost like deja vu. We once again you were in this position last year when the Waltons came in and got you. So your thoughts on this new ownership group with the Washington Commanders?
I'm just glad Dan Snyder finally sold the team because he said he was going to, and now that it's done. The thing is, though, if I look at Dan Snyder as a owner, I don't have to tell you, 5 playoff appearances, and they didn't advance further than the divisional round, and then you've gone through 8 head coaches, and now you're on Ron Rivera. The thing is that you haven't had much stability, and now hopefully this group that's coming in can actually have more stability, and hopefully Ron Rivera is in for a long while. As for you, it's just it's a fresh start. You guys haven't been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 26. I'm sorry to bring up that, but the thing is, though, I hope this guy, Josh Harris, he is part of a winning organization. He's done it with the Devils, obviously with the 76ers. Hopefully he'll do it with the Commanders because you guys want to win a Super Bowl. That at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Yeah, for sure. Mel, your thoughts?
I was really wondering why you had it on here today, and I was like, well, I'm happy you did though, because what I did was some of the people I listened to, I didn't know that your franchise was one of the top franchises in the 70s and 80s. They was like it stayed on primetime TV, and it was part of one of the best rivals ever. And then and it's almost when people say things like that, it's like looking at McDonald's. McDonald's is very American, you know what I mean? So when you see rivals like that, it sucks because it's in everybody to watch those games. Like when you was a kid with your grandparents, it means something. And for a guy to have a team and it lost all that luxury, like when I see a lot of you guys as fans, it's great when you guys are up, you know what I mean? And it sucks to see that it's down, and then you see all the dirty play, and it was like a lot of ego and narcissistic in the situation where you're playing. Like if you don't want to do well for the fans and as a business, then you need to give it up. And it's the good thing that has happened. And hopefully he can get back that luxury that you guys had in the 70s and 80s. Get back that fan, because I'm being honest with you, the fans seemed like they were really down. They had to change the name. You had to accept the name, and then with just so many things. And there's kids and younger generations don't even understand how important, how great the Washington's football history really is. You know what I mean? And one of them is me, and I just found out, and I was like, wow, and so I'm hoping that they can fix that. I really do. It was one time, it was a 25-year waiting list to get tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean that's so. I just wanted to go that way with it. Like I wish more it would happen more where if an owner it don't seem like he's giving all his all to better the franchise. That something can happen, but maybe you should sell it or get somebody in there to make it right. You know what I mean? Not just the GM because that it sucks when you have a rich history like that and you constantly keep people spending money. People live for those Sundays. They live for those seasons. You know what I mean? And you keep losing, and you're going through coaches, and then okay, I'm going to bring this coach back. You know what I mean? And he's not the same coach as he used to be, but he still has some type of success. Like you guys are one of the top franchises in the world. So, and I hope it gets back to that luxury. I hope they find a. Are they going to have a new name?
They Josh. Well, he hasn't committed to. I think he's more so trying to get the organization straight before he even
Right.
melts.
You know. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying congratulations. You know what I mean? Like I said, I live in Virginia, and when the Commanders are doing well, the economy's better. Um, people speak to you. You know, they have more deals with the beer. You know what I mean, and Slurpees, and you know, what I mean? Like, you know, the energies is way better. You know, but so congratulations, man. I'm happy it's finally over with.
Yeah, and like you said, the waiting list is to a point where you literally, in order for you to get season tickets, it's had to be passed down to you. It's almost like
Right.
people, like somebody had to like literally pass away in your family, and they gave it to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was used to be how it was, but yeah, this was a proud franchise. I think, and that's one thing. It's funny that I talked about on my other part, the commands in chat where at the time, my co-host, he's 30. He's like, he's never witnessed that, they were good. The year that he was born, this the year they won the Super Bowl. And then it's been down here ever since. Shout out to our guy Cruz on that one. So the thing about with it, I think obviously with the ownership, this great opportunity for this franchise to be rejuvenized, and
Hmm.
and there's a lot of stuff that's can happen. I think one of the biggest things is like us potentially going back to DC. I think that's one of the hope that's going to be one of the key things for us to get out of FedEx. So just a lot of stuff, and then I even hearing from other people about Josh Harris, where I think he's about the business of it, and I think
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing with Snyder was he was such a fan, where it's almost like that his hindrance of it. So that's why I never really. Daniel Snyder is it's like a love hate relationship. It's like I understand where he's kind of come from. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, why not? I would have brought Joe Gibbs back as well. I think if it was,
Right.
Hmm.
so from a fan perspective, I get certain things. I know his love affair with RG3, and then his love affair
Hmm.
with Dwayne Haskins. God rest his soul. But those type of situations where in his position he's not supposed to be doing stuff like that. That's why it's important to have those general managers, and that's why you think about the clashing heads, and you think about how you know and Jordan, and quiet as kept. I always think our best coach that we've had in the Dan Snyder era was probably either across another one, Marty Schottenheimer, God rest his soul, and then Mike Shanahan. I mean,
Hmm.
and you just look at, and that's another one where you ran Mike Shanahan out of this door because your excessive behavior, your insatiable appetite for RG3,
Hmm.
knowing that Shanahan didn't want him whatsoever. And that's why, like, I always look at Cal and Mike in high regard because they patterned a playbook to accentuate his strengths. That's
Hmm.
like people, I always talk about how Cal is an offensive genius. That's where that's derived from because they really wanted Ryan Tannehill. That was their guy. Because if they would have stayed at 6, they would have probably more likely would have drafted Ryan Tannehill. But they
Hmm.
actually moved up to get RG3. So those are things that really upsetted me with Daniel Snyder because almost like you have to allow the people that you hire, you have to empower them to make the right decisions. But the constant meddling, and then just
Right.
everything that's been going on with this franchise between the sewer water falling down, on people at the stadium. Damn, Jalen Hurts almost losing his life when the rail collapsed and all them people almost fell on him. It's just been some embarrassing times for this franchise. So I think the exorcism is they need a clean slate, and I'm just glad now that this is happening. And just the track record I've heard of Josh Harris has been pretty good. He's all about the business. So I'm not gonna hear him say, "Oh, well, we need to draft this person because my son loves him," or "I seen him one Saturday night and he wooed me." Because that's what Daniel Snyder used to say, and it's just like, oh, okay. So but he will allow the powers that be to make those decisions, and he's going to empower them to do it. So, and that's what you really want at this point, and when you run a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I'm really curious how this is going to happen, because now, and I feel so bad for Coach Rivera, because it just reminded me of the situation, when he was in Carolina, when Jared Richardson was, another one, God rest his soul, and Tepper came in. So you damn, he's gonna be in that same position where that's not Harris guy. So we'll see. We still got about 7 months to kind of iron that out. But yeah, it's what is it? Happy days are here again in the DMV. So yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait.
Congrats.
Like you said, congrats. I want us to come down Pennsylvania Avenue and and turn the city, burgundy and gold again at a Super Bowl parade one of these days.
I just want y'all smiling and happy again. I mean, man, y'all been looking. I mean, you always smiling, but man, the rest of them, that head down.
Right.
Hey, Jordan, don't let them fool you too. When they had RG3 and they was about to win the division, you talk about arrogance. Oh.
But yeah, man. But yeah, that's another one where you just look at how that played out,
Right.
And it's something that, but and like you said, and that's the crazy thing about all this. We've had talent, as far as it's not been like embarrassing or riches, we've had bad players, bad coaches. We've literally have like 5 current head coaches that's been on this staff, and great head coaches. I mean, you look at Mike McDaniels, Cal Shanahan, Sean McVay, who else? Kevin O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
I can literally name so many guys that have been through here and have had success. So it's just one of those things where it's just just imagine if this owner can retain at least one of these guys, and we would be set.
Mm.
It's just.
So who's all in the group? Who's all in the group?
It's a few guys, but I think more notable is Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson got a 4% ownership with his team, which is great when the franchise is worth $6 billion.
Right.
4% is a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's another one where you bring in Magic, where he's been successful as well, and then he'll bring his razzle dazzle.
Right, man. I'm just really happy, man. It really, I mean, all jokes aside, it really was getting ugly there, and people don't understand, man. When franchises is just when energy is good, sometimes it helps the city. We talking about Washington D.C. It's overly priced. It's a lot of stuff going on, so that's great, man. The fans need something.
They do, yeah. But yeah, man, definitely. Happy times are here again. So and all those. I just hope we can go back to RFK and just rebuild there and just and just be the way it used to be. Make Washington great again.
He doesn't mean it, Jared. He's
what you mean?
He's
What you
He's
mean?
gonna everything's gonna be okay. Like,
Hey, he's got to have
No, I
something
just think
going for you.
right.
he had to because, and that's the thing where the team is not bad. Like that's the thing people don't understand. Like the team is not bad. That's the problem. Like
Yeah.
so, it's like it's still a decent squad,
It's a decent
and that's the
division.
thing.
That's true too. One of the
Yeah,
hardest now.
yeah, one of the hardest. But hey, it's definitely gonna be interesting. So as we talked about the NFL, so we definitely got to talk about. I don't know, Jordan. I don't know how you would kind of equate the schedule release because to me, it's kind of a low key holiday. Because like to
It
me, it's
is.
like okay, one of those where it's like okay, I can plan the rest of my year.
I
Like,
I
yeah,
do the exact same thing. I see
whew, yeah,
how many primetime games we have. Do we
yeah,
obviously? I'm in the mountain time zone, so I look at all the games where I can, do something in the afternoon after it. I think Broncos have like 4 primetime games, and we were awful on primetime last year. So
yeah. Yeah, and I love it because it's just like it's kind of like you get the season going. It's like, okay, even in my mind now, how we're gonna be the first week of October, how we're gonna be at this time period, and I'm pumped. Like you said, I think we only got one. Well, we got really 2 primetime games. We
Mm.
back on Amazon again, so I think October the 5th. Y'all better watch out. That might be the best matchup on Thursday Night Football, like it was last year. So
hey,
we might.
it couldn't be any worse than the Broncos versus who are they playing?
Oh, the
The
Colts,
Colts.
because we play. You know what's so crazy? Because we played a week after y'all played.
I'm not sure which game was worse there.
I know it was so funny because everybody was like, "Oh well, damn!" And we get the Commanders and the Bears, but actually, that was like one of my favorite games of the year. Call me crazy, but I enjoyed it. Like, but I think the thing that got me was, and,
It's
it, and
so
it's and
funny.
it's so sad because that was a Carson Wentz. He had the block on Rick at that time. Roquan Smith was still playing with the Bears, and he had a good clean block off of him. But they ended up messing his hand up. But I was like,
I
ooh, that was like
remember
a
that.
wild
I think
play.
we talked about that.
Yeah, that was wild. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Amazon. But so let's talk about obviously, and we're not gonna break down the whole 200, all the games of this season. But I'm curious as your thoughts. Is we had obviously it's gonna be the opening game is gonna be the Detroit Lions, the knee biters of the D, and they're coming to Kansas City to face the defending Super Bowl champs. What are y'all thoughts about this opening game matchup? I'm going to you first, Mal. What's your thoughts on it?
You want me first?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Lunch meat. That's all I thought. I was like, oh wow. I said I was like, out of everybody, they picked the Lions versus the Chiefs. I'm not even used to that. Don't they usually the first game usually be like the Super Bowl or something like or a
Well, yeah,
division game? And I was like, are you serious? But I just feel like it's lunch meat.
yeah. She got.
I pretty much have the same thoughts. I mean, I looked at the schedule going, the Lions? Why would the Lions play Kansas City? You could have had the Dolphins. Tyreek
Right.
Hill coming
Eagles.
back to Kansas City. Or, the Eagles, or even Cincinnati versus, going to Kansas City because that was the AFC Championship.
Right.
I just didn't understand why the Lions. I was a little confused on that.
So call me crazy.
Yep.
I actually love this matchup because I think you just look at the momentum of Detroit. Because you think about it, obviously the momentum for Detroit at the end, obviously because they win the Green Bay on the Sunday Night Football game. It's funny to think they closed out the regular season on Sunday Night Football last year with that win over Green Bay. This team, was pretty much on the precipice of making the playoffs. And now you going in now because it's really kind of one of those things where we're going to see because Detroit is going to be overhyped. So don't be surprised when people got them win the NFC North in predictions. So this could be somewhat of a barometer game and kind of put Detroit somewhat on a map if they take care of business in Kansas City. So, and I doubt it's going to happen. But it's really, really interesting because now you kind of want to see that momentum from last year can it spring forward. So low key, I mean, I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it,
I hear you.
but it's gonna be definitely interesting, interesting opening game. But hmm,
I would have.
but yeah.
I mean, I would have liked to see them versus the Jets or something like that with Aaron Rodgers, because that's the whole thing that I kind of like paid attention to. But we'll talk about that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Huh. So speaking of that, so obviously, and it's funny because I know when Amazon first started, they were going to have a Black Friday game, and that was slated for
My God.
2023. So we got Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins squaring off with Aaron Rodgers and the New York
Yeah.
Jets in the AFC East battle. It's going to be 1 o'clock your time, Jordan, on Amazon Prime
Mhm.
on Black Friday.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts on that Black Friday matchup. What you got, Jordan?
I will say it's very interesting that they're going to have a Black Friday game, but honestly, I look at Black Friday as basically a mini holiday. I mean, I sit and watch
Yeah.
college football. Now you get a chance to watch, the Jets versus the Dolphins. I think on paper, we think it's going to be a good matchup because you got Aaron Rodgers coming
Mhm.
into New York to be their new quarterback, and then you have Tua Tagovailoa, assuming he's healthy, no concussions, and the Miami Dolphins. These are two teams that are going to vie for that division. The thing is who else were you going to have? I think it's actually a pretty good matchup, and you know, to sit and watch football, nothing better on Black Friday. The question
Right.
is, though, how healthy will Tua Tagovailoa be if he keeps
Right.
running? Because he needs to learn to slide.
Yeah, because this could be a Mike White versus Aaron Rodgers matchup
Right.
potentially. It might be that way. So your thoughts on this Black Friday,
I thought
this
it was great.
historic Black Friday game.
Right. I thought it was great. I thought it was a division game. That division usually, is always a game or two apart from everybody. You know what I'm saying? I just think it was smart, especially having Aaron there. He's going to get it's the Jets, it's New York. It's going to be a lot of TV, Miami. With the, I didn't. So I think I just think I love when um, organizations and people think outside the box. And I was thinking from, like, man, that's great. You know, that part of the day, usually people, like you said, college football or something else, and they just going to be chilling. And it's something extra on TV you can look forward to because you're not working. You know what I mean? I'm just very happy that they did that. I'm very proud that they did that. They're really thinking outside the box finally. But even a great game, division game, Miami, the
Yep.
Dolphins versus the Jets. We don't know how good the Jets gonna be. I think the Dolphins should be hopefully better than we were last year, but I can't complain.
Yeah, I love it, and like you said, it's such an unprecedented event, and I hope
Right.
it's going to be something that's annual. I'm looking forward to just the call. I'm just looking forward to all the pageantry that comes with it, the pregame show, Mike Smith, Taylor Ruggs, all and those folks, and then Big Al and Herbie. So shout out to them. That's going to be definitely fun, and
Mhm.
you know, Al Michaels, throw us like some deals during this. Say something about it. They're giving out $30 air fryers on Amazon. Come
Mhm.
on, do something. What we gonna do? Like, give us some deals. Give us
Mhm.
some deals on Black Friday to knock our socks off in this matchup. But yeah, it's gonna definitely be unique in its nature. So I think it's gonna be fun. Like you said, then like you said, to your point, Jordan, where yeah, because normally that's usually like the college football day as
Right.
well too. So, and I think there's some good matchups on Black Friday as well in the college ranks. So there's always it's kind of one of those days where you look at on the calendar. Oh yeah, there gonna be much, but it end up being actually really good games.
Right.
Because I think
Mhm.
I remember it was one year, I think I forgot, Pitt played some bad. I think it was in Miami one year, and that was a real good game. Um, and even because it was because Carolina played North Carolina. Carolina played Notre Dame 2 years ago, or I forgot when. I forgot it may have been a year or two ago, and they played on Black Friday, and that will end up being a pretty good game. But yeah, I definitely looking forward to that as well. So, and as we talked about it, Jordan, you know, your Denver Broncos will play host to the team traveling west in the Washington Commanders on September the 17th. Definitely looking forward to that week 2 matchup. So, fellas, I think did I say your top 3? So
Yep.
so obviously the top 3 games that you're looking forward to as far as for your team perspective that you're looking forward to watch. I'm gonna go with you first, Jordan. What are you looking forward to seeing to your Denver Broncos this season?
Well, if you look at the matchups, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, we play them twice within 3 weeks this year. So that'll be nice to see a barometer of where we are against them because obviously they're the kings of the AFC West. Other than that, I mean, you look at we play the Jets. What is that going to mean for Aaron Rodgers? Are we going to, play well against them, or what else is going to happen against them? And then I have to also look at, another team in our division who was a playoff team. It's the Chargers. We play them twice. The question is has Russell Wilson, improved enough for us to be in the thick of the AFC West? I think those are the 2 teams that I'm worried about besides playing, the Jets. Because if we cannot beat Kansas City or San Diego, It shows you where we are.
Yeah, for sure. I know, right? And Maui, your thoughts on your Lloyd, your Pittsburgh Steelers? What you got?
Now I did mine different. I got the favorite games. I'm sorry, I do have one with my team, but I haven't really gave a lot of energy to my team this year. But week 1, the 49ers versus Steelers. I want to see that game. Week 2, I got it's important to me anyway. Baltimore versus the Bengals, because I really feel like I'm hoping they beat each other up. But I feel like when Lamar is healthy, he's the king of our division. You know what I mean? And when he's hurt, seems like Burrow's always end up stealing it away. Week 4, the Chiefs versus the Jets. I'm just want to know how Aaron Rodgers. I feel like if they beat the Chiefs, then maybe, what I'm saying, they are better, and maybe they are one of those teams that we need to be paying attention to. And then week 12, Bills versus the Eagles. I have to put. I'm curious with the Bills because I feel like I've been arguing for a few years now that they're not as good as everybody make them out to be, and I wonder if they're after last year are they on their way down.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. I did 4. I'm sorry.
But yeah, they're gonna be all right. Shout out to our guy Ken Dorsey. I think he'll get the offense back to its Brian Daboll strength. Yeah, I got. So obviously, I think number 1 it's got to be Commanders and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Got to,
right.
That's to me. That's tops. Like Thanksgiving, us on prime time on Thanksgiving, you can't beat it. Number 2 is got to be the Commanders at the Eagles. That's a week 4 game. So we go back to Philly. Last time we went to Philly, we beat them. Into that undefeated streak that they had. So yeah. So the Philadelphia failures. So we got them. we got them. So of course they'll be running their mouth, and let's go back to Philly and did what we did to them on Monday Night Football, and keep it going. Because Carson Wentz ain't walking through that door because you're not sacking my nephew Sam Howell 9 times. Not gonna happen. So, and then my final one's gonna be week 18. We play Dallas Cowboys. They come to FedEx, and once again, this is another one. This is the, deja vu. It's funny. I look at our schedules that if the 2021 Washington Commanders schedule versus 2002 schedule had a baby, it would be 2023. Like we finished the regular season against the Cowboys yet again at FedEx. That was Sam Howell, my nephew's coming out party. Once again, I think it's going to be another great game for us. It could be a situation that could have playoff implications. It could, who knows where we're going to be there. So it's going to be very interesting. Honorable mentions got to be we got the Patriots. Obviously, crazy thing about that. So we go to Foxborough. the last time that the Washington Redskins Commanders football team has won a game in Foxborough, you guys, you'll never guess. October 13th, 1996.
Wow.
Oof.
Adam Vinatieri was the kicker for the Patriots at the time. Drew Bledsoe was a quarterback, and we were led by none other than Gus Frerotte, number 12 of your program and number 1 in your heart, Gus Frerotte.
I remember.
Led us to a win at Foxborough, and so
interesting.
It's been a long time. It's been nearly 27 years. At the time we play them in November, it would be 27 years since we've won a game in Foxborough. So,
wow.
I think this is a good opportunity to break that streak. So, kids that are 27, 28 years old, the Gen Z kids have never seen the Washington Commanders beat the New England Patriots in New England. So, Gen Z, consider it a historic day on November the 5th. And stay tuned, kids.
No Giants game? Dang.
But, yeah, we got them after Atlanta on October the 22nd. That's gonna be an interesting game because obviously that tie and the bull stuff that happened on the Sunday Night Football game after the bye. And the crazy thing about it, we got a bye in week 14 once again, just like we did last year. So
that's really late.
Interesting though, that's why I'm like, I feel for that because I'm like, same thing happened. We had the momentum, I think we were, I want to say we were like 8 and no, I forgot. We was what 8-5? No, we weren't 8-5-1. I don't think we were 7-5-1 going to the bye. Yeah, he was 7-5-1 going into the bye. That's right, because we had a tie. Because we were 7-5, because we had the Atlanta game, we ended up being 7-5, and then we ended up tying with the Giants. So we were 7-5-1 going to the bye week, and then we lost like 3 out the last 4 games. So yeah, it's like that. So right, so we'll put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live, fellas. So who gets this week's game ball? Let's see who you got, Jordan. Who gets this game ball this week for you?
I'm going to be a little biased, but I'm going with Nikola Jokic. I mean, in 12 postseason games, he's averaging 31 points, 10.1 assists, and 13.5 rebounds per game. Obviously, against the Lakers last night, he had 34 points, 21 rebounds on 23, 14 assists. So a triple-double with 34 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. I mean, the guy is becoming a superstar, right, in our eyes.
All right, Mallory, what you got?
So I knew that you were going to be on the show, and I have the same. I have the Joker. I mean, I can't. I was going to pick. I said, man, you got to give it to the Joker. Who played? It was astonished. You know what I mean? Like he had what 20? How many rebounds did he have in the first half? He had like 10 in the first quarter, right?
Right, yeah.
It was
you know what I mean?
No, it was 16 because remember they had 16 because remember they had 17. They took one of his rebounds away at halftime.
So I'm just saying you have to give it to him. Like it's funny that Joel Embiid won the MVP, then he lost, and they lost bad, right? Or that was the second game when he came. I think when Joel Embiid got it, was that wasn't game 7, was it? That was game 6.
Oh, that was game 3. You talking about when he got the award?
Yeah, when he got it. What game was that?
3.
It was game 3, and I'm just saying in general, man. Like I just had to give it to him. You know what I mean? I was like, man, just give it to Joker, man, because when you be honest with you, he just dominated. It was all the way around,
Yeah. All right. So my game balls gotta go to the 4-letter word in sports, ESPN. Man, what a tremendous get. And you think to yourself, this team, ESPN's gonna be celebrating their 44th year in existence in September. And I think them getting Pat McAfee saves their brand for sure. This is what Blockbuster should have did with Netflix. And ESPN was smart enough to get a guy that is now one of the top sports personalities in the game to join their forces, and he fits like a glove in their rotation because they can still have, so now they can compete in that afternoon slot with the Colin Cowherds of the world, the Rich Eisens, and Jim Rome. So because he'll fit in that 12 o'clock slot, so he'll be joining ESPN in the fall. Perfect acquisition for them. ESPN, this is a very forward move for ESPN. Kudos to the good folks in Bristol, Connecticut, because I literally think Pat McAfee will save ESPN. For sure. Yeah, especially in the midst of everything that's going on with the layoffs and all this type of stuff. ESPN, it ain't dead yet.
Right.
For sure. So before we head on out, fellas, your final thoughts and just plug away social media, anything that you got going on. I'll go with you first. Jordan, what you got?
Well, you can find me at SportsScoop1 on Twitter. I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com. So I got to tell you, Maui, it'll be an interesting Lakers series. Could go either way. Tomorrow's a big game for you guys. If you go down 0-2, who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be Cancun on 3.
Exactly.
Hey. It's best out of 7, not 6 or 5, okay? People forget that sometimes.
y'all should be chilling with Katie. I don't know. Katie still back. He be come back from Cancun.
Ain't nobody chilling with Katie until he get a haircut.
Shoot, he's like, I don't care about y'all. He's like, he in Cancun living his life.
You think somebody putting oil on his Let me stop.
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, that city lends itself to that type of activity. So hey,
right.
Hey, so, yeah.
For me, man, great show, bro. DT Morgan, Instagram, and Deshaun Morgan Facebook. And hey, man, I just hope we steal that game. You know what I mean? It'd be real interesting. I watched that game, and like I said, I was like, what's going on? But I like I said, I'm starting to understand they play different in the playoffs. So I wasn't as emotional because I didn't watch the last 3 Warriors games. No, sir. No, too emotionally attached. I was watching through my phone. I couldn't do it, bro. But so I'm still a little confident that we should be all right.
Yeah, and man, another great show once again. Definitely shout out to Jordan for coming on tonight. Right. And like you said, and definitely plug in sportscoop.com because Jordan. It was funny thing about Jordan is right. So like TMZ Sports would be like Kendall Jenner, Bad Bunny, and Devin Booker in a love triangle. Who cares?
Yeah,
Sportscoop.com.
That's pretty much what I say.
Like, who cares?
That's a lot what I say on some of those TMZ ones.
It'd be so funny. And it's funny because even before I knew you, Jordan, I was like, he's on all this stuff. Like, it'd be like non-sports stores. It'd be like, yeah, Kendall Jenner is broke up with Ben Simmons. Who cares? Sportscoop.com. So definitely, once again, another great show. Yeah, man. So follow the podcast on social media anyway you get your any social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Still on TikTok. Luckily, we ain't in Montana because it got banned in Montana today. So as long as it's not banned in Virginia, we still have Couch Coach Live on TikTok. But
why would they ban it in Montana? Like, what else they got going? Let me shut up.
Right. Hey, shout out to Montana.
It's Montana.
It is Montana. Shout out to Montana, though.
For real.
Probably
we had good times in Montana.
Yeah, the best taste of water I ever had in my life. For sure.
One of the best burritos I ever had in my life.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. Yeah. I think I walked like 2 miles for that too in the heat. Remember?
Hey, George, I went to this place and we was in Missoula. What was it in Helena?
Helena.
We was in Helena. Yeah. And I said, Coach, I'm not playing with you. This has got to be the best burrito I ever had. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And I said, man, I got 2. I said 8-1. I got this one for later. I would give it to you, but nah, man, you gonna have to go down there.
Got it too.
He was like,
yeah.
man, it was delicious.
Yeah, I went for that walk. It was hot too that day too, and I thugged it out, but I got it though.
Right.
But yeah, so and then also check out the podcast anyway. You get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, with there, and essentially, pretty much the website couchcoachlive.com. Got a lot of stuff going on there as well. But yeah, man, once again, another great show. Definitely appreciate you, Jordan, for coming on, and definitely gonna have you for sure. Definitely gonna have you on. At some point during the seasons that progress. So yeah, definitely appreciate you coming on, and yeah, man. So this has been this week's Couch Coach Live. We'll catch you guys next week, and we're out.
Welcome.